Ducks fans, are you ready? You are listening to the DucksNPucks podcast. This is the #1 home for Anaheim Ducks talk and analysis. Here we go.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, Mike Walters, along with my co-host, Eddie Richard, and we are back. I know it's been a while. It's been summertime, so not really a lot of hockey going on, but we're going to kind of do like a little show before the season, preseason gets going, and just kind of talk about a couple little things going on with the Ducks. But Eddie, what you been up to? What are you drinking? What's going on?
Not much. The same old, same old. It's been pretty much a boring summer for me. I don't know. I think I'm a bear, but the opposite of winter. I'm not a heat person, and my body just it burns up real quick. So I try to avoid going out in the summer. I've been going to the gym a little bit more, trying to get a little healthier and get my mind clear because the summer just throws me for a loop. So as you could tell, I'm more of a winter person. But I actually have a trip coming up, Mike. I want to do something different, and just wanted to do kind of like just don't think, just do, like that Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. I booked the flight, I booked the hotel to Buffalo, New York. So I'm going to go and see Niagara Falls. I'm going to go across the border legally into Toronto. Go hang out over there, kind of the whole tourist thing. See the horseshoe over there on their side. I know they have a Skylong thing, a dinner place, a little fancy place. I want to go over there, then kind of hang out around Buffalo. I know they have a casino. Go hit up those, get some buffalo wings. I heard they're pretty much amazing over there. I'm going to catch a Sabres game, so I get to check another arena off my box, and they're playing, coincidentally, the Avalanche. Wasn't really planned that way, but I'm glad it worked out. So I'm looking forward to that trip and just kind of getting away from the area and having a nice little, I guess, my summer vacation, even though I think the summer will be officially over by October, mid-October. How about you, Mike? So what's going on with you?
Yeah, not much. Just a couple little minor road trips here and there. Nothing crazy. I've been down in San Diego a little bit here and there. I have a training that I'm doing now down there in San Diego for managers. So I've been going down there every month now, doing that. As far as any trips, I do have one planned. I am going to go to the Winter Classic in January. I think you're going to go too.
Yes, I'm pretty sure we'll meet up.
Yes, so that's really the only big trip I have planned, but I'm excited for that. We'll go there and see Florida take on the Rangers. So that's kind of the big trip that I got planned. I worked some extra hours and stuff to save up my pennies for that, so I'm excited about that. Other than that, no, just a lot of work. Same old. Nothing big, nothing crazy. Just trucking along. Like I said, little road trips here and there to San Diego. Been to a couple Padres games. I posted about that. Went to the Ducks Angels game too recently this last week. I got that Ducks Angels cooler, and I have a second one on there that I have for you, Eddie. So I got two. It's pretty good. You can fit a 12 pack in there, maybe even an 18 pack. So it's a pretty good size.
Thank you.
So yeah. So I got a second one, and I was like, oh, Eddie's gonna like this. So they've been doing some giveaways too. Some of you have seen that. I found a Troy Terry bobblehead I had, so I posted that on there and gave that away. I'll be doing more of those on Instagram, and just really the same old stuff. Looking at maybe redesigning our logo a little bit, maybe having a little bit of different merchandise. And I wanted to bring this up in the beginning because we had a really good friend of the show, and we want to dedicate it to him, Elvis, that did a lot of our shirts and hats and things in the last couple of years, and unfortunately passed away. So I'm working with his family, though, to do some other stuff. Eddie and I have been kind of talking about some other designs. Not getting crazy change in the logo, but maybe just a slight update, I guess, kind of like the Ducks did with the original Mighty Ducks logo. So it's something that I'm working on in the process of that. But I just wanted to dedicate the show to him, Eddie, and also thank you because I know you guys were good friends, and you brought him into the fold, and he was a big supporter of you as well as the show and everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, I definitely thank you for dedicating the show to Elvis. And funny way I met Elvis when I first got out of the military and moved back here. I moved back with my mom. Didn't have any place to stay and just didn't have a job when I first moved back over here from Colorado. So I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings hanging out. and I see this guy next to me with a Ducks hat. So him and I just start talking all about the Ducks hockey. He's all about Ducks hockey, how he used to play roller hockey too, and we just had a lot in common, and we ended up switching each other's Facebooks, exchanging. So he ended up leaving. I go to the restroom. I noticed that his hat's in the restroom. So I go ahead and grab it, and I ended up messaging him like, hey, you know what? You left your hat here. So we ended up meeting up. We went to one of the Rain game we met up at. So and we started hanging out like regularly, and we became friends. I want to say a couple months later, he needed a roommate. So I was like, hey, well, if you have a room for rent, I need a place to stay. And we kind of just hit it off like that, and got to live with him for a couple years, and it was fun. And I remember the time that we were moving out, he looked at me and said, if these walls can talk, because we have a lot of good memories and a lot of good stories. So I was lucky enough to have known him, got to hang out with him, got to experience a lot of the Duck season openers, our home openers with him. So I just want to say rest in peace and send my love out to his family and everything. So thank you for dedicating that show, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. And his family's still working with us on stuff, so very, very appreciative of that. And yeah, we only had like you said, you got to know him for a decent amount of time, big supporter, and I wish him the best and his family the best moving forward and everything. So we just wanted to do that kind of as our little intro. Also want to remind you guys we are another season. We're part of the Old City Sports Network. You can go on the our description box. It's got all the discounts to all the different products we have on there. OCSN is the password or the gift code for most of those. So make sure to go check those out. Just a little bit of stuff.
One more thing, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes. We're talking about the summer. I wanted to throw out there. My mom lives in Arizona, so I'll go out there a lot and visit her. So I went to one of the casinos in Laughlin. Never went over there. For some reason, I was using a strategy on the digital roulette thing. It was a stupid strategy, but for some reason, I kept winning on it. So I was like, and I was only playing like 50 cents, 75 cents. So just take that into consideration, and I only spent about $50. I even walked out of that casino, including the free draw, walked out there with $300 out of that $50 I spent, Mike. And then on top of that, all the free drinks I was getting. So it could have been easy, but if you, I say another $100 in drinks. So I'm happy. So now it's like I stood at the casino with my brother. So we're going to drive back to my mom's for breakfast, coming back home. And I'm all just fat, dumb, and happy with my money, like talking about how much money I'm actually walking away with, leaving leaving Laughlin and going to come back to California. I try to catch a yellow light, Mike. Big mistake, because that light phased faster than the flash. And then all of a sudden, the red and blues are behind me. I'm like, damn it. Got pulled over. So I'm like, okay, maybe he'll show some leniency. I have my veteran plate. I have my veteran ID. Thinking that would work. No, this cop walked up, and you can tell he was just lettered by the law. Most polite cop you could think of, friendly. I mentioned, too, where he was sitting because I wanted to ask those questions because I thought I passed that limit line. He was nice enough to show me the video, clear as day. I was about 3 seconds off, so it was my fault. Gave me a ticket. It got dropped, but I had to do a defensive driving course, Mike. Cost me $275 total with all the fees. So I walked away with $25 in free drinks. I'm like, damn it, I can't win in Laughlin, Mike. I thought that was kind of a funny story. I wanted to go and say that since I go to Arizona a lot during the summer to see my mom.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah, so it's like you won, but not really won. Like, kind of won. I
got free drinks.
Yeah, but. Yeah, a smaller victory. Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because I think that's kind of the theme of this season for the Ducks is looking for smaller victories. There's been a lot of discussion with this team. And I don't know where to go with this, but we'll start off with, I guess, the latest update. We had finally some clarity on the Gudas situation. He actually did an interview on the Czech NHL website in the beginning of August, and he actually opened up about his knee issues that he had. You remember the Czech media said he was going to need surgery. They didn't really say like what it was going to be on. But then he mentioned about his knee, but then he did rehab, and he said he's good to go. So we finally got that figured out. It explains why he didn't play as well as he did last season. I know a lot of people were very, very critical of him. He also talked about contract extension, or he was asked about it, and he said that there hasn't been any talks, and we'll see what happens. Basically, this next season will be his last season with the Ducks, unless he gets that extension. He's also the captain again this season. So we had some fan questions too, asking about like who's going to be the next Ducks captain. We've talked about this and whatnot, and I think this is kind of a good topic to address. Just kind of going forward in the season, something that to keep an eye on is twofold thing here, Eddie, that I think with Gudas. Obviously, we got the health update. We know what's going on with him and his knee and all that. But with the Ducks this season, he will be the captain. But the question is, does he come back? Does he get an extension? A. And B, if he gets an extension, will he be the captain the following season? So what do you think about that, Eddie? What do you think for this season? How do you think it's going to unfold as this season carries on and gets done?
That's a good question, and I don't think he's done a bad job as a captain. I was critical because I thought he was playing less physical, and it seemed like I mentioned on numerous podcasts last season that since he got the A, he kind of was trying to play beyond his level of skill. He's a skilled guy. But his specialty is being that hard-nosed, rough guy to play against. Like, you step on the ice, you're like, oh, shit, I got to deal with this guy. We didn't see that a lot last season. We saw, which we saw in the last few seasons, a lot of players on the Ducks being taken advantage of, and no one really just jumping to their aid. I mean, you have guys like Terry trying to jump in the mix, or guys like that, which you don't want to see. You had Zegras jump in the mix a few times. Rest in peace, Zegras. Good luck in Philly. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting what's going to happen and how the Ducks want to move in this direction. I think if there's an extension to be made, Verbeek will make it. I think he likes this kind of player, and he thinks this kind of player would thrive in the playoffs. And to kind of give that C right now to someone else, it's really, if you go down the list, it's really not people who can really give it to long term. I think the next captain of the Ducks is going to be signed long term. It's going to be the face of this team for many years to come. Gudas is getting up there. He has a few more years left in hockey. I don't think he's going to be playing that much longer as the Ducks want, just to throw that captaincy around. I know people mentioned McTavish. Obviously, he's not signed right now, and other players, but I haven't really seen other players step up and be that kind of leadership role and hold other players accountable for their actions. I think Gudas is a good one. Other notable ones, I think, if it doesn't work out with Gudas, and I have no issue with this. You have players like Kreider, you have players like Trouba. I know contracts are coming up too, but to kind of pass it to kind of those guys, and they're leaders and they know what it takes and they've been around. I think they have the command presence where players will listen to them instead of just giving it to someone that's young and someone that's not really ready to handle that responsibility. The league's different than it is way back then. I know people criticize the Avalanche for giving Gabriel Landeskog the C at such a young age. I think Crosby got some hell too over there getting the C at a young age, but they were more, I guess it was a different time. I think they were more ready to accept the challenge, ready to accept responsibility. I think now these players, you have to kind of cradle them a little bit. I wouldn't mind Gudas getting the extension, getting I think 2 more years would be fair to see what he got, to see what he can bring, kind of milk the last bit of hockey he has left in him before he starts really, really going on the whole decline. I think he's still a top 4 defenseman. If not, you can use him in the bottom defenseman. You can't go wrong with that, especially if the Ducks really are serious about making a playoff run. I think he'd be the best player to be on your roster and the best leader for that.
Yeah, I could see him getting an extension still. I could definitely see that. And I think you're right. If there is one, it's not going to be something crazy. It's going to be like a 1 or 2 year type deal. It's not going to be anything long term. Especially we got to see how his knee does this season right now that we know it's out there in the open. He did the rehab. You and I were definitely critical of him and his play, being out of position, taking runs at players and missing. His skating, you could tell, was not up to par often in the second half of the season. So there were some things that were going on there for sure. And I think this bleeds over into the other topic about McTavish, as you touched on a little bit. He's at least at the time of the signing still not done we've got the rookie tournament coming up. We've got the training camp and preseason coming up. So I could see if McTavish gets a long-term deal, then maybe he's one of those that you look at to be that one in the not this season, but the following season. But you're right. Outside of that, there's not a lot of candidates on this team. You could go for a Trouba. You could go for a Kreider. Senior guys, especially Kreider, been there, done that. Again, you may go into the same situation with Gudas. They're not long-term. So, I think a lot of this, I'm really curious to see what happens with the McTavish situation. I really want to see what kind of deal he gets. There's been all kinds of crazy reports about McTavish being traded to whatever. There was talks of him in Dallas with Robertson. Was that going to be something? Robertson's still with the Stars. Nothing has come up with that. Seems like Montreal's always in the mix. There was those Zegras Montreal rumors. Like you said, R.I.P. Zegras. I cry every time I hear about him. But
Toronto, of course. All roads,
yes.
all players lead to Toronto for some reason.
Yes, absolutely. There's all those things that are going on. So, thank God, though, I do want to give praise, too, to Eric Stevens. Like, I really miss the days, Eddie, when he was just the Ducks beat writer. Now he's at the... now he's still at the Athletic, but he's covering the Sharks, the Kings, and the Ducks. So he's pulled in a lot of different directions. But finally, we got clarity this summer. He gave out the update. He said, hey, they're working on a deal. The Ducks want to keep him. They're trying to figure out, the term is the issue. And Steven said, hey, they're not necessarily looking for a bridge deal. They could look for more for a long-term deal. So, there's some of that going on. And obviously with the cap going up and things, you can make arguments on each side, of the deal. If McTavish takes the long-term deal, gets all his money that he wants, I'm thinking somewhere in the $6 to $7 million range is where he should be. Some people think, well, maybe he's trying to push on his camp or his agent, which his agent is, I guess, quote, a grinder, just like Verbeek is. And that was from Elliot Freeman on one of his recent podcasts, that, maybe they're trying to just get the shorter deal, and then that way they get a bigger deal later on. That could be a strategy, too, on their part. So, I'm curious to see what will happen. It's the typical stuff. I know a lot of people are upset at Verbeek, and he's grinding it out. McTavish's agent's grinding it out. And it's the same stuff. There's no rocket science behind this. No matter what all these people are telling you and going on these podcasts and putting out all these crazy things, it always comes down to money, and it always comes down to term. Let's just be honest. That's what it is. So that's the question. Is he going to get a shorter contract or a longer contract? I think that's the bigger issue. I think the AAV each season is probably not as much of a disagreement there. Maybe it's closer to where they want to be on that front. But those are always the two issues. So I give praise to Eric Stevens. Always on it. Great dude. Seen him at practices, and it's gonna help out when you're trying to get those little tidbits when he comes out. So it's really good. And Elliot Freeman also came on again and did another podcast talking about that he thinks the Ducks are trying to go for the longer term deal, which kind of makes sense. Even though Elliot Freeman had talked about a bridge deal way back towards free agency in July. So that's kind of where we're at there. But what are your thoughts? I know a lot of people are upset and been out of shape about McTavish and it not being done, and obviously the preseason's coming up here and everything. What are your thoughts on this stuff going on, or him? If he gets a long-term deal, maybe he's a captain down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I want him to get paid. I think it's fair, but I don't want them to overpay. I want to say that Nazar kid in Chicago. I think I know a lot of Chicago fans they're weird and they're stupid, but I think to gamble on kids this young, on trying to you're throwing money at them thinking that what they're going to be. I think this Nazar kid only had like 37 games under his belt, and he's been injured the last few seasons. He's never had a full season, so it's like I think they threw him like $7 million for like 6 or 7 years or something like that. It was just insane. I'm glad the Ducks aren't trying to throw money like that. Like, okay, well, let's throw money at the player you're going to be. No, I think the Ducks are trying to get a fair value for their player. So I think that's good. I don't mind this whole stalling thing. They're just kind of playing the game. As long as he's there before training camp, I think that's the most important thing, to be there day one. So I think they should just grind out, work out a deal, and do something. If not, then who knows where this is going to go? Because if he's not there at day one training camp, this story's going to blow up even more. I know a lot of people are bored right now. It's barely hit September, so everyone's getting excited for hockey. But August is, it's always dry. It's a desert for hockey. So any little news you can get, any little tidbit you get, they're going to run with it. So I think one of the stories of this offseason and the boring part of hockey was McTavish, and if he's going to be traded, like you said, Mike. I think he was rumored to be on all other 31 teams in the league to be traded to. So it's kind of funny to hear that. I want to throw a question to you, Mike. If he can't get re-signed and the Ducks had to trade him, which NHL team do you think he would fit well with? I can go first. Let you ponder on that, or if you have a team in mind, go ahead.
Yeah. You go ahead. Let me think.
No, because I was thinking, because I'm a hockey nerd, so I'll go and, like, when I'm bored, I'll just go research teams, research different drafts, go through all the teams' lineups. Like, it's just something I do. I know, I don't have a life, especially in the summer. I told you I hibernate. I think he'd be a good fit with Detroit. I think, on that little second line between DeBrincat and Kane, I think he would fit perfectly on there. I think he'd be a nice compliment to their team. He has familiar faces over there with Gibson already. So I think that'd be good. However, the only thing is, I don't think that the Red Wings right now have enough to give up to the Ducks. I know they have DeBrincat's probably one of their pieces they would have to lose too, because I think McTavish's value is kind of sky high up there. But I think he'd be a good fit if he just randomly was a free agent and signed with the Red Wings. I think he would slot in really well with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. He could go over there. That's definitely one that could be, a team, like you said, it could be second line center. You'll laugh at this one. I mean, this is kind of off the cuff too, but what if he goes to the Flyers? I mean,
I've heard that though. I've heard that too.
Yeah. What if he goes over there? What if he ends up, I mean, I hate to say it, but you had Drysdale, you had Zegras. They're in the same situation that McTavish is going through. They both got signed to bridge deals. They both got traded to, Philly. That's the thing that concerns me about McTavish. If he gets a bridge deal, I mean, unless, like we said, unless his agent's really pushing for that to get a bigger deal somewhere else later on, then it kind of worries me, because then that means that McTavish isn't a long-term plan. And we had heard Verbeek comment before that he looked at Carlson and McTavish as the 1C and the 2C. So, I mean, if that's the plan, then I hope they lock him up long term. Because if they don't, then it goes to what you're saying, Eddie. Either they end up trading him, or they do a bridge deal and then end up trading him. So that's my concern with this whole thing, is I want to see what it ends up being in the end. And I'm hoping it's not a bridge deal, because I don't know. I could be wrong, but the track record with Verbeek is when he hands out bridge deals, it seems like that those players aren't necessarily part of the long-term plan.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Like, I really don't want to lose McTavish. Yeah, the whole Zegras thing, I didn't mind losing him. He didn't really seem to fit the mold of that playoff kind of performer. I think I want to just, like the whole Marner thing. A lot of people wanted Marner of the Ducks because he was a big flashy name, but I always said it. He's not a playoff player. He's not gonna get you over that hump. He's not physical enough. I think Zegras, as he develops, he'll be a superstar player, probably as good as Marner, if not better. But I don't think he's a player that's going to go to those rough edges, go to grind out for a goal, go to the front of the net and kind of pay hell for that. So it's like, I guess you can always get rid of players like that. A player like McTavish. Oh yeah, rewind. My issue was with Zegras, we didn't get enough for him. I think that the return from him was a laughing joke. So the whole McTavish thing, I think he fits that mold of a player that will go to those dirty areas, that will fight, will be that kind of meat and potatoes kind of guy that will go to the front of the net, that will skate back and make the players on the other side pay and make hell. He'll grind and be that playoff performer, and I think he'll thrive in the playoffs the way he can play that physical role too. So it would even sting a little bit more if we lost him. But, like, what can you really do? A bridge deal is kind of a hit or miss, because what happens if he signs that bridge deal? His whole motivation is kind of diminished because he wanted a long-term contract. Now he's not playing well. Things like that can factor in a player's mind, and that's what scares me too, is to kind of devalue this player for a bridge deal and not get the maximum return from him. We've seen this numerous times with Murray back in the day, where he could have traded players at their ultimate high. And I bring this up numerous times, and we'll talk about this until the end of time, Mike. He could have got the world for John Gibson at one point. And there was, at one point, there was talks between the Edmonton Oilers and Drysdale's name came up. And a player like that, how high Gibson's value was to even have that in the talks, that's something that you should have jumped the gun on and did. But he didn't. So, yeah, my fingers are crossed with this McTavish thing. I'm looking at my phone a lot every time I see the Ducks post something, or if you post something, Mike, or I'm always just checking Twitter or X now to see if we get an update. So I just hope it's done before. I hope it's done today or tomorrow. I wouldn't even get mad if this news breaks tomorrow after we record this show, Mike. I'd be like, okay, whatever. At least he signed. But I just really hope he's there from day one, training camp, or I guess before that, because I know they have all their press things and photos and all that stuff before that. So I just hope he's there to be with his team and kind of do all that stuff and kind of get that. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, and you're right. We have a track record on our show of recording. Our guy puts it together, Braden, good dude, and we usually record and put it out like the next day, and then we'll laugh because then usually the next day some kind of news comes out. So maybe with us recording, it'll happen sometime this weekend with the rookie tournament and whatnot. Maybe there'll be some good news there, get it done. The other part of this too is just me as a player. I would be frustrated. Like, I felt like with Dostal, it was a smart move. I mean, obviously he had the arbitration card. He played that card with his agent, got the deal done. Also, Verbeek had already traded Gibson. So, there were some things in Dostal's favor there, right? He had the arbitration stuff that it could have gone to. It did not go to that. He got the contract done. I thought it was a fair deal and a good deal for Dostal. And with McTavish, he's already past that point. He doesn't have the arbitration card anymore with where he's at in his career. And so now you're stuck. And like, to me, that's the frustrating part. You're the human part of this, right? You're the player. It's summertime, like you're talking about, Eddie. You're kind of hanging out. A lot of these players don't live necessarily in Southern California, or they moved, but a lot of their family lives in other places. So, they go back to visit, home, wherever home is, can be Canada or Europe or other parts of the U.S. And then you're just sitting there wondering. So I think that's the part I feel bad. I thought with Drysdale and Zegras, that really irritated me too, because they both got those late starts. I think that was not good. So I'm just hoping, like you said, that whatever Verbeek and the other Pat Morris, McTavish's agent, hopefully they come to agreement and get it done, because for me, I'm concerned about what's best for the player and what's best for the team, and it's not good when a guy is not there on day one of that training camp. This needs to get resolved, and it needs to get resolved soon. And that's really how I look at it. Just trying to throw in that other little perspective, because a lot of people out there are throwing shade on Pat Verbeek, which I get it. Trust me, I get it. But also the agents doing stuff too, like Elliot Freeman said. They're both grinders, so you got this whole dynamic going on. And I'm just hoping. I'm always more about the team. That's my aspect. What's best for the team, and of course the player that's involved in this. But a win for everybody is to get this done sooner than later.
Yeah, I think you said it best, Mike. I think you hit the nail in the coffin right there. And the whole thing is, what's best for the team. Are you going to become a huge distraction for the team because of this? Because we've seen this numerous times with every team. When it goes into a player not signed, a player holding out, the media will jump on it like a bitch in heat. And I'm talking about a dog. It's just going to be crazy if that happens. And like I said, my fingers are crossed, my toes are crossed. I didn't talk about my new puppy yet on the show. I think I'll mention that in a little bit, but I'll cross her little paws too, and hopefully we get some kind of news. And you have to know too, Mike, with these executives, with our GM, with our president, AGM, these guys don't stop working. When the season's over, the players will go and have their exit interviews, and they'll go and spread out all over the world. They'll have their vacation, have their fun. I know a lot of them are training still. I know a lot of them aren't. Like I mentioned, old school versus new school, and I always kind of bag on the new school players, but these new school players, they give it their all. That's all they have. They're not over there just letting themselves go, drinking, not working out, coming to training camp without skating the whole summer. These players are still on there grinding each and every day, so I have to give them credit for that. they go and have their fun and live their lives, but number one thing on their mind is hockey. So credit to them for that. But upper management, Verbeek, the scouts, they don't stop working. They start grinding out contracts. They're seeing who's available. There's still some players that are kind of depth players or like AHL players that are available free agency, and I'm sure they're scouting them, looking at them, seeing who they're going to offer a player tryout, seeing what other teams have done. So it's kind of a 24-hour. It's like a 7-Eleven job, Mike. It never closes for a GM. So I have to give him credit for that. And as much as sometimes I want to get frustrated, like, hey, I want you to get something done, you have to kind of just like stop and take a breath. Like, look, this guy's kind of sacrificing some of his time too to make sure these things get done. And I hope he gets some rest, but I guess you get what you take when you become a GM of a team. So.
No, you're right. I mean, it is a 24/7 job. There's always stuff going on. There's always scouting going on. You know, when the summertime comes, you've got the draft. Obviously, you got the free agency going on. There's always stuff. There's stuff coming up all the time. You know, you've got now the rookie camps coming up this weekend. If you are able to, go see that, they're going to be at Great Park Ice, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be the Kings, Ducks, and Sharks rookies, the 12th through the 14th. You can buy tickets on the Ducks website. There will be no McQueen there, unfortunately, or any of the NCAA players. I know that was a question that came up. They unfortunately, they're not allowed to play in competitions against other teams. So that's kind of the issue there. So you won't see McQueen. You will see Seneca there, though, who also attended the NHL PA Rookie Showcase. That was just this past, in the beginning of September. We'll have to see if he makes the team. Kind of interesting to see how that plays out. So you do have a little bit of hockey here in September, and then obviously the training camp coming up to kind of get some stuff going. And it kind of leads me into this other little sponsor we still have. We are also part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and DraftKings, thank God, still part of our deal here. And the NHL is starting to get kind of going, but obviously football started up, so you have that to look at. So, the sponsor that we have with DraftKings, Pick 6, they have, football is back. And so is your shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. This season, play with your instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Use code THPN. That's code THPN to play. Just $5, you can get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. And then gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus award as non-refundable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See the terms at pick6.com, DraftKings.com/promos. So we're happy to have them back.
I love DraftKings. Mike, I was just telling you off air, I was thinking about flying to Denver for the night this weekend just so I could make some DraftKings bets. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big gambler, and I'm not saying when I make bets I'm making $100 here, $100 there. Like, I think I cap off my limit on the bets. But there was one parlay I wanted to do. I think it was all the lower teams winning, and I wanted to bet $50 on that. I think you could win like $500. And there's a few other bets that I wanted to make too. So I love the app. It's fun. I mean, I don't have a gambling problem. I never had that issue with gambling at all. Like, I'll go to Vegas and I'll just cap myself off. I'm more interested in getting the free drinks than gambling. So I might have another problem that we could talk about. But. No, it's a fun thing, Mike. That app, it's fun when you use it in moderation, I guess. But, Mike, okay, so you're going to make a bet right now. So, are you betting that McTavish will be signed before training camp, or are you betting that he won't?
That's a great one, and that's a great segue from DraftKings. What I want and what I think. Oh boy, this is tough. I don't know if they're quite the same. I want him signed before training camp, but I feel like it's going to be dramatic, Eddie. I feel like if he's not signed the next day or two, right, when we publish a show, because like we said, stuff like that happens. I feel like it's going to be like just like days or hours before training camp. That's what I feel like. I think that's what I'm going with. I think it happens, but it's going to be like last minute, which is going to be annoying as hell. But I'm kind of going with that. What do you think?
I think he's going to hold out. I think we're going to see that. Verbeek's stubborn. What we read from Eric Stevens, McTavish's agent is stubborn. I think they're going to just be like, oh, well, let the Ducks know what they're missing. You can afford to hold out. There's going to be a bunch of other teams that want you. And they'll go from there, which it's kind of unfortunate and sad. But that would be my bet, unfortunately. But hopefully I'm wrong.
Well, how about this? Here's another bet that we can kind of talk about, too. We were talking about, I kind of put up like a projected lineup. And there's been different projections out there. It's been kind of interesting. I forgot who it was, but I saw one projection where they said that the Ducks would miss the playoffs by like a point or two, like maybe like a win. And like, we had people that asked us those questions too in our fan questions, and thank you for those. We had Jay Campos asked us a lot of questions, but one was, will the Ducks make the playoffs this season? Which unfortunately has been kind of a question we've had every season. But there's that. There's a lot of projections that have had them around 90 points. I have a little mock lineup here in our little notes that we can kind of talk about. But what do you think? Do you think the Ducks can get around 90 points? Do you think they can make the playoffs? Assuming McTavish, let's just assume he's signed, right? No other moves or anything. What do you think? Do you think this is the year? Because we have not made the playoffs since 2018. You think we finally break through, or do you think we fall short again?
It's funny this question came up, and I was laughing when I read it. The script you sent me, Mike. I'm actually planning to write an article. I know I haven't been in the motivation to write for the last couple of years, but I actually have some notes I've been taking, and one of my things were about the Ducks making the playoffs. So I'll give you a little insight, I guess, a preview on what I'm going to write about. So I'm going to say no. And there's just too many factors. There's too many moves that were made, big moves. There's a new coach that came in. And there's a new system they have to learn with the new coach. The coaching staff changes. The head coach changes. You have a significant piece like Zegras that you bring in someone like Kreider, Kreider's a power play specialist that likes to blast that puck. He had some recent surgery or some injury or some surgery that went on. You have Gudas that had his rehab go on. There's a lot of factors that are going against the Ducks. It's like they're skating an uphill battle. They're skating uphill. I'm quoting the Blade movie, which I just watched. For those reasons and other reasons, which you can read about when I send the article and it gets published by you, Mike, I'm going to say no. And I wouldn't vote the Ducks to make the playoffs. Now, however, this is kind of my multi-personality, I guess, coming out. On the off chance that I'm wrong, which I'm usually wrong sometimes, if they do make the playoffs, that's one of my DraftKings bets I'm going to make, is the Ducks making the playoffs. I'm making another bet the Ducks win the the Pacific Division, which is a long shot. Now I'm only betting like Mike, I'm only betting $10, $15, but you can get paid a couple $100 off this for fun. And I will bet that Quenneville wins the Jack Adams, just in case. If he improves that much. I know that's a long shot too. And you know what? His odds to win a Jack Adams aren't that bad. I'll pull him up in a little bit. I should have pulled him up while we were talking, but I'm distracted because I have a puppy in my lap right now. So, yeah. Sorry if you guys heard her barking in the background. We have actually, I have one puppy. Mike, I told you about it. I'm sure you guys saw it on Twitter. I posted it. Her name's Miley, the little dark brown Cavapoo. But we actually have two other ones that we're watching. My brother's girlfriend, and she's selling them. I don't agree with selling puppies, so I'm throwing that out there right now. But I love these little things. They've been with us for about, a month and a half now. So, yeah, they have their personality. So this one I have right now with me, I call her Paddington. She looks like a little Paddington bear. She kept whining. So, yeah, so I lost track. Sorry, the puppies that throw my mind off. But, yeah, Mike, go ahead and give your input while I pull up these little stats right here from DraftKings.
Yeah, we were joking about us doing our little competitions, or what we're picking, like Ducks versus Pucks kind of thing. So, Team Mike, Team Eddie. Right. So we're kind of joking about this. It's kind of a thing that we'll probably start running with. But I think I think the Ducks can make the playoffs, but I think it's gonna be tight. I think if they make it, they're gonna squeak in. Looking at the lineup, kind of throwing this out there. If this is kind of the mock lineup, you have Gauthier, Carlson, Killorn, possibly your first or second line. You got Kreider, McTavish, and Terry. Those are kind of your top 6. You've got Vetrano, Granlund, and Strome. So that's kind of your top 9 right there. And obviously there'll be some changes or whatever, but that's just kind of what I'm going with. Not a bad top 9, pretty good. Your fourth line kind of falls off a little bit. You've got Nestorenko, you've got Colangelo, Harkins, Johnson, Forling. See how those guys do. I'm really curious to see if Seneca can squeeze in there. If he does, that would be maybe something that could change it. We could kind of see. I don't know. McQueen's not going to be there. He's at Providence, so he's not going to be there this season unless something really crazy happens. I don't see him. So I don't know. I'm curious with the forwards. We talked about them scoring 20 goals last season, and I can't remember our prediction. I think we said that 7 of them could do it, and I think 6 out of 7 did. I'd have to go back and look, but it was really close. So, and we're in that realm again. You've got, Gauthier had a phenomenal season last year, Carlson as well, and then now you add in Kreider and Granlund in the mix. I mean, you've got most of those top 9. Even Killorn, who I've been hard on, of those top 9, a lot of those guys should be close to that 20-goal range. But then the drop-off on the fourth line, it's pretty significant there. So we'll have to see how that goes. On defense, Lacombe, who fucking all-star. Eddie posted this about his rating, which there was a lot of discussion about that too. A lot of people were talking about the video game rating for the Ducks players. A lot of people weren't happy. Lacombe was up there, but it was kind of funny. A lot of people were kind of throwing that out there. But you'd have Lacombe and Gudas, Zellweger, Trouba, Minchikov, probably Hellison, and then maybe Luneau makes it in there. We also had more from last season. Solberg, I don't know if he squeezes in there as well. So that's kind of what you're looking at lineup-wise. We already know the goalie situation. It's Dostal and Mrazek. There's no surprises there. That's just how it's going to be. So to me, I think the bigger part of this, too, is the coaching staff. The Ducks totally revamped the coaching staff. It's all new, right? So, can they... To me, if they do make it, if they get there, they're going to have to get over the hump with that. You have Kreider in there to help out the special teams. We've talked about that. The power play, penalty kill has been dog shit the last couple of years. It's just the way it's been. Hoping that he helps it out there. But, I mean, they really haven't added a whole lot to this team. So, we'll have to see. I think the first 10 to 15 games are going to be really telling of the season. If they can improve in those areas, all those areas, scoring has been a problem, and special teams is the big thing. Dostal, it's now his net. I want to see how many games he plays. I'm hoping, that he plays about at least 50 games. That's what I'm thinking, run with him. If not, you've got Mrazek there. He can come in and pinch hit. Obviously, the back-to-back games, you all know how that works. You're going to have them rotated out. So, I know Eddie says no. I think that they can. I think that they can do it. But my caveat is if the Ducks make the playoffs, it's going to be a wild card spot, and they're going to eke it out and barely get in, Eddie. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. See, if they do, I can't. That's hard. It's hard to think. I think the Ducks are going to have an improvement. I think we'll be battling till the end. I think I want to say they'll be about 4 to 6 points out of a wild card spot. I think that's my prediction. I'm still going to make bets on them just in case something happens. You never know. The team can click. They can bring in Robo. Or they can just click on their own. You never know what this team can be capable of. Look at the St. Louis Blues in 2019. Dead last before the Christmas break. They brought in a third-stream nobody goalie in Bennington. And look what happened to them. Their unit was so close and tight-knit together. That kind of chemistry, that can sometimes outplay skill, outplay what you have, and you can see it. You mentioned too, Mike, too, and I'm looking at it as you mentioned it. The fourth line, it drops off. Changes have to be made, a few more. We need a true elite superstar player. We need a goal scorer. We need more goals. There's no doubt a lot of these players will improve. I think Carlson, Cutter, I think they're going to improve significantly. but I don't think it's enough to make it. Especially the Ducks have always been slow starters. I've never really recalled the Ducks having a really big, significant start to a season. But having to learn a brand new system now from pretty much a night and day coach, you go from drill sergeant to you go through a Marine drill sergeant, or whatever you call the Marines. I apologize, guys. I was in the Army. To a to a Coast Guard drill sergeant. I apologize. I apologize to the Coast Guard members that are listening. Those are just military jokes. Come on, guys. But it's gonna be an uphill battle, and I think it's gonna take some time. There's gonna be still some growing pains in this team, especially with the brand new coaching system. We get to kind of iron out those wrinkles. It's going to take time. I think next season, for sure, a lock to make the playoffs, 100%. This debate won't even matter. If we show up third to last, second to last this season, I still think the Ducks will make the playoffs next season. It's just too much skill on this team. We have a coach that has a reputation of winning, but it's just going to take some time. You can't just jump in the ring because you think you can box against someone named Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, no, those are good points. You're right. I mean, the coaching staff has been revamped. I think it's a huge improvement, but you're right. There's going to be an adjustment period anytime you bring that in. Especially, you've changed everything except like the goalie coach. I mean, everything has been redone. So trying to figure all that out is going to be very, very interesting. The lineup, not a lot of changes like you talked about. Brought in a couple more forwards that are supposed to help out. But you're right. The thing with this team is there is no superstar on this team. Like I mentioned, you've got a lot of forwards that have the potential of scoring 20 goals, but you don't have a McDavid on here. You don't have a Draisaitl. You don't have a Matthews. You don't have those kind of guys. The Kachuk brothers. You don't have someone that's like, hey, this is the guy that, hey, he's going to go out there, he's going to get you, 30 goals and 30 assists and kick ass or whatever, or get you 50 goals, right? That some of those guys have done. So there's that part that's just not there with this team. So it's really going to have to be literally a team effort if they're going to make it into the playoffs. And they're going to have to lean a lot on the top 9 to get there. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds as the season starts. But I really think, like I was saying, that first 15, maybe 20 games or so is going to be interesting to see where they're at come this season. The other part of this too is that the Ducks did drop one player. They had Rodwin Dincinco that's gone now, that they put on waivers, and he got terminated, and they sent over to I guess he went back to Europe. So there's one less there. The Ducks do still have cap space. I do want to give a shout out to Thomas. He's been writing a lot of articles. I still got a couple more to put out there about all the minor league players and keeping track on that. So the Ducks still have cap space, and I do like that move. Rodwin had some maturity issues. I guess he apparently spit at an opposing player and had a whole bunch of other issues. So the Ducks aren't messing around. I know Eddie makes the jokes of the DI coaching staff and everything, but they're holding people accountable, and I think that's the thing. I want to see how this coaching staff holds this team accountable because it's been lacking in certain things. And I know we talked about Cronin, and people thought he was too much and over the top and all these issues. I thought he got the Ducks going in the right way in some areas. So we've got a coach now that's been a proven winner, and a lot of guys are motivated to play for him. So I don't know. I am still excited for the season. I think it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I want to get McTavish done and see how we go from there, Eddie, and just kind of take it from there and see where we go. Any other little thoughts there? We got a couple little league news updates before I jump to that, and some stuff about our stuff.
A few. I want to throw out my DraftKings thing again, Mike. I'm sorry, but I have to.
Go for it.
The whole parlay I was talking about, if the Blackhawks beat the Panthers, they're plus 75. If the Penguins beat the Rangers, they're plus 164. And if Colorado can take LA, they're minus 110. These are my bets. I'm betting $50 on this parlay. If all my bets go through, that's $945. That's going to be cool. Quinville to win the Jack Adams Coach of the Year. He's a plus 750. It's not too bad. Like it's actually not bad as being a higher plus because there's been higher ones too. So yeah, I've been getting into this more. Like not too crazy. And then Duck season opener, they're both minus 105. I'm sorry, Ducks are minus 105, Seattle's minus 115. And what that means, if you don't know how to bet, which I just figured this out, you would have to bet more than $105 to actually get some kind of money back. So it's kind of not worth betting. So yeah, that's kind of the whole thing of it. But it's a fun hobby to do if you're not really addicted to it. Yeah, I want to throw out there too, Mike, before we get into other news. I want to also throw my condolences out to Charlie Kirk and his family. It's unfortunate that he was a political activist that got shot today. He actually got murdered and assassinated today. A sense of act of violence because people can't handle words. I think it's important. I know, Mike, if I'm crossing the line, go and tell me to shut the fuck up. I think it's important that we mention things like this because part of it's just being able to have freedom of speech and being able to accept people's differences. I accept some of my friends that are making wrong choices in life that are Kings fans. I don't judge them, but still, I know it's not a laughing matter. I'm trying to make alleviate things of the situation, but it's just really sad. A senseless person had to be murdered today for no particular fucking reason besides people can't control their emotions and let words kind of hurt them. So it's just my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Also, too, I want to just mention the shooting that happened in Evergreen, Colorado, the high school. I know 2 kids were hurt, and I believe they're in critical condition. So another senseless thing. I just want to send my condolences and my prayers to them, their family, and everyone affected, even the fans of Charlie Kirk, the family, friends, faculty of that high school too. So it's with a heavy heart I have to say this, but yeah, I really wanted to show my love, and it mentions in the show too because we do reach out to a lot of people, and it's just some things are a little bit more than hockey.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we talked about this because we had had this stuff happen like literally a couple hours before the show, and we were debating on if we, or at least I was. I'm like, should we still record right after this? Or
same here.
It's frustrating. You see all that, and I don't care. We're not trying to get political, whatever. You're for guns, against guns. You're Republican, Democrat, whatever. I really don't care. It's just frustrating because we should treat everybody with respect, and even if you disagree, like there's way to do things with civil discourse. And that's a lot of these, like the training I mentioned earlier in the show. There's a lot of that I'm doing where we're talking about dealing with issues in the workplace with problem employees, but also a lot of self-reflection, PTSD, things like that, and differences of opinion. And that's one thing that we're always big on the show is we've always talked about, not trying to get too much into that. Obviously, sometimes we do touch on those ideas because they're prominent things in there, but we're not trying to get you to pick a side or anything like that. It's nothing about that. We're just trying to, give our sympathy out to those that get affected. Obviously, and it's frustrating to see that stuff happening, and it seems to become more and more prevalent for those of you that live in the U.S. and know about our country and our culture and the things that are going on. So we're always trying to uplift everybody and be a team and welcome different opinions and things like that. And I've had people talk about Charlie and reference the way he is out there, doing those kind of things, opening up the discourse, which Eddie and I have done that in the past too on the show. We've talked about, Eddie and I aren't perfect. We've had issues too with different things, all kinds of different things. When it comes to depression, both of us PTSD. Eddie comes from a background of military with a lot of stuff and some law enforcement mixed in there. I as well. So you have those issues that come up, and we've had some struggles. Eddie and I have personal struggles. And actually, recently we've had some struggles with some things. We also talked about in the beginning of the show with losing our buddy Elvis. So it's not always easy, and there's these traumatic events that happen. and trying to deal with it is the ultimate goal. And how do you deal with that? Deal with that. Go on to be a productive member of society, but at the same time, also, just respect everybody else. And if I've got family members that are opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to a lot of issues, and we get along and hang out, and we have disagreements on things and we talk things out, but that's it. It doesn't go to the extreme of loving each other less or hating each other. And I think that's the big thing that we've tried to talk about in the show in general is just being more of a loving society in general of everybody. So I was going to save that till the end, but he jumped the gun, which is fine. It's all good because we're about to wrap up the show. We don't have as much to discuss. But that's the big part of it. And really, unless you want to add anything else, Eddie, we can wrap it up with a little bit of league news and then close out the show.
No, you said it perfectly. I think we have this platform, and we've been open to our fans about what's going on with our personal lives, and a lot of you have helped myself, and I could probably speak for Mike too. Help us get through that. Like there's times when I'm. I've had a kind of a depression and spell this last few weeks. I haven't been doing really well mentally, but that's why I've just been trying to go to the gym and being a little more healthier, mind, body, and soul. But a lot of you guys reaching out, or I talk to you on X, or you guys DM me or something. We talk about hockey, or you guys just post something about hockey or something stupid, and just like, okay, well, I remember talking to this guy, hanging out with this guy. All that little things matter. There's people I haven't even met on X. There's people I've been talking to for over 8-9 years that I consider friends. I know there's one guy, I can't think of his name right now. He's from Edmonton, but he's a really cool guy, and he's always things I've posted before when I was a little more electric. He would make sure and just ask a simple question, or hey, are you okay? You need to talk, like things like that. Or they go a long way for people, because you never know what people are dealing with. So. Like Mike and I, we always say, we're here for everybody. You ever need us, go ahead and let us know. I have an issue with some of my Facebook messages, so Instagram me or shoot me up on X or just tag me on something. Hey, we need to talk, and I'll just message you back. Cause for some reason, I don't get notifications on certain social media platforms now. For some reason, I check my things. But yeah, I think Mike, you hit it. You hit it. Well said. I wanted to throw it out there. Before we got to our final thoughts, before we talked about some other news, I wanted to kind of end the show kind of positive. I know there's a story I've been wanting to talk about too. It kind of relates to what was going on, but if you want to talk about what happened with Kessler, because it's something of a Kessler thing to do.
Oh yeah. This is a funny story too. I've been a lot of baseball games. This summer, like I said, I talked about going to the Angel game recently. I went to a couple of Padre games. Actually went to one this week too as well. Our training group decided to go to the game this week. But it was funny to see back in July, Kessler was in the outfield at a game, a Detroit game, and a home run was hit, and he got the ball, and he actually threw it back into the field. And it was just funny because most of the time, people get the ball and they throw it, and it's just whoever. But this ended up being Kessler, and as Eddie talked about, it's a very Kessler thing to do, Eddie.
Yeah, dude, that guy, I love Kessler. He was one of my favorite players on the Ducks. Unfortunately, he had his injuries that kind of slowed him down. You know what, Mike, we could talk about too? It's a viral moment. I guess they call her Baseball Karen or Philly Karen. That girl that flipped out on that guy about the stupid baseball and the whole. I think that moment is. I think everyone, no matter what political side, whatever race, religion, whatever you believe in, I think everyone in the world at that moment was all in one and all in unison. It's like everyone was united. The whole world, I think, was united after that incident, and everyone universally hated her, Mike. Oh my God. To act like that, to cry over a baseball when the dad just gave it to a kid. I think it was his birthday, too. The kid had a birthday. And I'm glad the Phillies organization, the player, gave him a signed bat. They gave him a goodie bag and everything. But it's like a lot of people are talking crap about the dad. I mean, it was kind of weird. He was like shaken up when she came running. But I think if a Velociraptor with the little Karen haircut came running at me like that, I'd probably get scared at first a little bit. But I think the dad ultimately for his kids did the right thing. He showed his kids sometimes you got to turn the other cheek and be the bigger man and walk away. And I'm pretty sure the dad didn't want to disrespect. She's still a female, and I'm sure the dad didn't want to disrespect. I think he did a good job to showing his kids that he could be the bigger man, and it paid dividends because they actually got invited to the World Series too, Mike. I don't know. I was reading about that too. So I saw the interview with him and his son. His son was happy about it. That girl ended up getting fired and she got ridiculed. I don't think she can show her face ever again anywhere. You have to go to Mexico and get some plastic surgery or I think Thailand does it pretty good. But holy crap, Mike. I'm sure you've seen the video. The infamous video around the world.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that? That same situation happened to me and my classmates at this training this last week in San Diego. We, one of the guys, also named Mike, organized it, and we sat on third base side. Their Padres played the Reds, and they ended up losing that game, actually, in the ninth inning. But a foul ball came in the aisleway right by the section where we were at, and it was a couple that got the ball, and there was a kid in the aisleway, and the couple, like, they looked at each other, and there was, like, this moment, right, where they had, like, this brief, whatever, 5-10 second conversation, and I was looking at them, and everyone else was looking at them, right, and all this stuff had happened in Philly, and they ended up giving the kid the ball. So, it was just like, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, are we going to have another moment here in San Diego where this lady, it was of the couple, it was the female that had gotten the ball, right? She had gotten out in the aisleway and gotten the ball. Granted, this one was a little bit different because the kid was closer by, but still, she got the ball, and then it was like, what's gonna happen with this? And so her and her husband or boyfriend, whatever they were, brother, sister, I don't know what the relationship was, but they had a little mini powwow, and they gave the kid the ball, and I just thought, oh my God, dude, let's not have a Philly 2.0 here. So it was kind of funny to see that happen. Right then and there, almost a similar thing. And now there's other videos that I don't know if you've seen that they're posting of other people catching home run balls or foul balls and giving them to the kids. And now that's been a reoccurring theme to give them to the kids and all that. So, that's the kind of stuff that I like. Like you said, Eddie, it brings everybody together. I mean, she's obviously the bad girl in the whole thing, but stuff like that when we can come together, that's what we need. We need more of that. Not necessarily at the expense of somebody, but when you can get everybody together and laugh about something or look at something. Remember they also had recently too, they had that CEO and the assistant that were on the kiss cam or whatever at the sporting event. Yeah, that one too. That one was a big one, and then they were making all jokes about that, right? So
everyone's been doing that. Oh my God. It's like, okay.
Right. Yep.
Number one, if you're having an affair or cheating, that's your prerogative, that's your business. If you're not, walk away if you don't like your relationship, whatever. It's not my business. But to just act that, just the way they acted, you could have just held each other and no one would have noticed, no one would have cared. But your reaction, and oh my God, that was funny too. That gave everyone a laugh, and I think. That's another moment too. I think World Universal was like, everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's the funniest thing in the world." Mike, I just got peed on. The dog is on my lap. She's a puppy, so I can't really get mad at her. And she had.
Well, we're almost done. We're almost done.
No, she peed a little bit. It was a little. It wasn't like a lot. She doesn't pee a lot. But yeah, she fell asleep on my leg, and I didn't want to move. I posted it on my Instagram. You can share it too, Mike. But yeah, things like that. Mike, I think it was. I think another thing. It's kind of sad. I know this woman that was saying that she got punched in the eye and they took her baby. I think she was universally hated by the world. Like, at least there's some things that still bring us together. And I think as hockey fans, universally, we can just we can kind of say, is October here yet?
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, we'll kind of wrap up the show. There's some more changes. Eddie and I did talk about these changes on the last show around the free agency, but they are going to go to the 84-game season in the 2026-2027 season, so that's coming up. They're also talking about the CHL players being able to play in the AHL at the age of 19. It sounded like it was going to happen this season, but that's something that's on the back burner. They're going to discuss it, and maybe also for the 2026-27 season. The only other real thing that kind of came up in the news recently was Kaprizov. Kind of interesting. He turned down like a mega deal. So I'm wondering where he's going to land, Eddie. But what are your thoughts on any of that as we wrap up the show?
You turned down a 16 per year deal, million. I don't know what's wrong with you. I should have checked Minnesota state tax. I don't think it's that much. I mean, compared to California, it's not that much. Yeah, I guess he's pretty much indirectly telling you he doesn't want to be there. That's going to be a problem for the Wild. He's a special player. He's a great player. I would love a kind of player like him on the Ducks that can put that puck back in the net. Not for $16 million. He's not a $16 million player. I think would be a fair price for him would be about 13.4. But yeah, that was crazy. I hate, just like I told you, Mike, we're so hockey deprived that any little small thing like this, everyone's going to run with it. Yeah, that was just kind of one of those shocking things. Mike, did you mention too about Kreider and Lacombe? I'm not sure about the Team USA invitation.
No, I didn't. You're right. That was one other little thing, too. They were both invited to the U.S. Olympic team camp. So congrats to Kreider and Lacombe on that. Well-deserved. They got those invitations. So obviously we'll follow that, too, as the Hockey Olympics comes up as well. So, yeah, that was a little bit of other news that came up. Oh, and one other thing I forgot before we wrap up the show, too. We want to give a shout-out and hope that Phil Hewlett, our PA announcer, is doing well. He gets re-upped 1-year contracts, so he got re-upped again. That's how his deal works. It's every year. He doesn't get these big contracts like some of these players do, but he recently had carpal tunnel surgery on his wrist, and that's why I ended up posting it. He's going to be good to go. Obviously, his voice is fine and everything like that. But we want to wish Phil, who's obviously a big fan of the show, helps us with our intros and everything like that. We want to wish him well, and he will be ready to go at the start of the season, Eddie. And then the other part I did want to mention, we have fantasy hockey leagues again. A little bit of changes there, and Eddie, I will throw it to you to kind of talk about that and what we're doing as the season rapidly approaches.
God, I can imagine the outrage, the rioting, the craziness if they would have announced that Phil wasn't coming back. They didn't want to re-sign him for that 1 year. Oh, I would have been pissed. I think half the Ducks hockey, I think even half the hockey world would be pissed. Everyone's so used to hearing his voice. He is the Ducks PA announcer. He's the voice. But yes, speedy recovery. I'm looking forward to hearing you scream Anaheim Ducks goal the way you do it come October. Yes, fantasy hockey's back. I lagged on it last season, so I jumped on it. I kind of altered the logo a little bit. It's not an official Ducks and Pucks logo. It's just for the Ducks and Pucks Fantasy Hockey League logo. But we're going to do 2 this year. We're going to do the first one we normally do, which we do a giveaway. The first prize this year for the winner, if you can, the winner for the last 2 years has been me. I'm not good, I guess. But yeah, so the winner for the non-paid one is going to be a jersey of your choice. So once that championship comes, go ahead and it's going to be championship driven. Let me know if you could beat me. For second place overall is going to be a signed item from the Ducks. Third place is going to be some Ducks and Pucks swag and some Ducks swag. So those are guaranteed prizes. We might give out prizes too, Mike, if that's okay with you throughout the season. For competing, or if someone's going against us, we can do kind of a betting thing or throw some tickets in or something like that to make it more engaging, make people more involved. It's fun. Now for the second thing we're going to do, I believe this is the second time. I've done it once before for a paid league, but we're going to do a paid Ducks and Pucks league. So if you want to go and pay, I'm charging $8 for the dues. So obviously you know why I'm charging $8 for. So I'm hoping to get 20 people on that. So third place will get their money back, $8. Second place will double their money to $16. And then first place will get the rest of the pot. So we're going to hopefully fill those spots up. Once this show drops, I'll drop the links off on these, and we'll go from there. You can go and do both of them. I know there is you can't sign up for both of them. You sign up for one of them. We'll drop those links off if you want to join. It's going to be fun. Mike's in both of them. I'm in both of them. So we're looking forward to doing that. We had a good time last season. Mike's been hooked on it. I was convincing Mike for the longest time to join. He didn't want to for some reason, but now he loves it. I don't think he's going to stop joining it. And I messaged the Arctic Bums and Jonathan's Dazzling team. They were second and third place last season. I think Arctic Bums still hasn't reached out for his prize. But if they want the links early, go ahead and let us know. I sent you invitations to one of them, but yeah, you guys are invited. Whoever finishes top three in the playoffs too will get the automatically invite to join the following season. So good luck to everyone. I hope you guys join, and I'm sure you guys want to join. So just looking forward to playing hockey, some fantasy hockey with you, making some trades, and having some fun and some friendly banter.
Yeah, exactly. And we got to knock you off. You won the last 2 times in a row. So
well, the first one didn't count. I'm not counting the first one because I don't believe in a tie. Like, I think that was BS. I think that like fantasy hockey and Yahoo, they should do something to not do that and just give it to the person that finished higher in the standings. I don't think that's fair. I don't like that. And the way they have their criteria set up, it's like a no-win for anyone. Like, I think that if you're tied like that, give it another day. Okay, well, come this Monday with the games, whoever's playing, players playing, that's going to determine the winner and go from there. But a tie, no. I won last season. The season before, I don't think I won because a tie, it doesn't count.
Yeah, well said, well said. But yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff going on this season. We got the fancy hockey stuff. We got, like I said, we're working on maybe some new logos and gears. We'll see. Talking to Elvis's family and things like that. So some things that may be coming down the pipeline. Still part of the Old City Sports Network. Still part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Working with both those guys. We're going to roll and everything like that. So this will probably be just kind of our primer before the season. And then once the preseason gets underway and whatnot, we'll probably maybe do a little bit more of a season preview and whatnot. But as always, thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for the support. And as Eddie mentioned, if you guys ever need anything, we are always here for you guys. So with that, let's go Ducks.